You're listening to the Overcome Pornography for Good podcast, episode 235.
Welcome to the Overcome Pornography for Good podcast, where we take a research-based, trauma-informed, and results-focused approach to quitting porn. This approach has been revolutionary and changed thousands and thousands of lives. I'm your host, Sarah Brewer.
Welcome, everybody, to the podcast episode this week. I'm Hunter Garrett, one of the coaches here at the Center for Overcoming, and I'm so excited you are here today. Now, this podcast today is for anybody out there who has thought to themselves, I should be further along with how long I've been working on overcoming this, or I know the tools here, but why am I still stuck and why can't I make progress? If those thoughts are the ones that have been coming to your head lately, this podcast is for you. That feeling like you should be making more progress is so common. And if that's where you are right now, I want to make sure that this is a safe place for you and that you can overcome this for good. Okay. What I'm going to be talking about today is how we can feel unstuck in a way and recognize progress moving forward. You're not broken because of this. I'm going to tell that over and over and over again to you guys today. You're not behind and that you can make progress today. Even if there's a slip up that happened, there's a lot to learn from it. Honestly, you might just be exhausted from thinking that progress only comes from you doing more every day, right? Maybe doing more podcasts every single week, listening to more podcasts every week, or reading more books, or, listening to more videos about how to overcome pornography for good. But that's not the case. Learning and listening to more isn't really what's going to help you overcome pornography. The busier you are does not make it easier to overcome. Today, I'm wanting to show you that you don't have to exhaust yourself in finding success. That's the biggest thing that a lot of people kind of get trapped in is the busier I am, the easier it is to make progress. Now, a lot of guys that come up to me here at the Center for Overcoming have similar statements. And there's something along the lines of, I've tried everything. I've read the books. I've listened to the podcasts. I've done the meetings. I've spent the money and all of these things. And for some reason, it's not clicking to me. Oh my goodness, right? And they get super frustrated at the fact that nothing's clicking. Now, that question of why isn't this clicking is such a powerful and valid question, honestly. But it usually leads to two pretty negative thoughts, okay? And these two negative thoughts include, maybe I'm just not trying hard enough, okay? And that can kind of put a lot of pressure on you. And the second one is, maybe the tools just don't work for me. Maybe I'm an outlier on this scatter plot graph, right? Maybe I'm the outlier here. But what if it's neither? What if you are trying hard enough and you are working hard and these tools are going to help you? What if it's neither? What if the issue isn't you have to continue to try hard, but what if you just have to understand where you are right now and then recognize progress and then move forward? A lot of times when we're looking at personal development, generally speaking, or, overcoming pornography specifically, we always skip this step of understanding where you are right now. And we always just say, okay, you know what? I want to be, the greatest person ever. And I want to do all of these awesome things. And that's great. I think those are fantastic aspirations. But we skip that question of turning inward and saying, where am I right now? Emotionally, spiritually, physically, socially. Because here's the truth. Knowing the tools is not the same as really applying them into your life. Because here's the truth. Knowing the tools is one thing. But really applying those tools moving forward is a whole different other ballgame. And with your schedule and with your emotions and with the stressors that come up in your life, you have to recognize where you are now, okay? Or where you began your healing journey specifically regarding, pornography. Now, I'm going to provide this analogy for you guys that can kind of bring this idea to life. This idea that understanding where you are now is all you really need to move forward. You already have the tools and you've already put in the work there, but we have to recognize where we are. Now, I want you to imagine here for a minute that you are in a completely dark room, and this room is completely full of tools on the ground, okay? You can shuffle your feet around and you can feel them with your feet, but you don't know what's what, right? They're just kind of scattered everywhere. But you have everything you need. You've got a flashlight, you've got a compass, you've got a map, all of the things you need. But without the light to find where those tools are, without a sense of direction in the room, those tools are going to be practically useless, right? They're just going to sit on the ground and collect dust, right? And you might trip over them or use one wrong, right? If you're trying to use one correctly and you think this is a map, but it's a toolbox, I don't know. And you get frustrated that nothing's working, that you continue to try to pick up these tools blindly and nothing's really seeming to stick or work or help you. That's exactly what it's like to try to grow without first understanding where you are, okay? The tools aren't broken. They're just sitting there. You aren't broken. You're not messed up because you can't fix these tools. You just can't see enough to use those tools properly, okay? So before you try to add more tools to your tool belt, right, like let's slow down and let's try to find the light first, okay? Let's try to find the light to this dark room, find your footing, and let's analyze where you are and what you're really working with. What tools you've kind of heard before on podcasts or what tools you've tried to apply in the past. And I promise you, doing this step is going to help so much. Now, one of the most helpful things that I do with clients is I help them create a baseline. And another word for baseline is just kind of understanding where you are, kind of what I've touched on earlier on this podcast. Now, if I came to you right now and I said, hey, I just ran a mile, the only reason why I know I ran a mile is because I had a place to start. I had a starting line, right? It doesn't even make any sense to run a mile and not have a starting point, right? It does not even compute. That same idea applies to recognizing progress and moving forward after you understand your baseline. After you have turned on the light in this dark room, gather the tools and understanding what tool is going to help you with what circumstance. I always ask this question to my clients that I work with here at the center. Where are you right now? Right? It's pretty straight up, but it's going to really help. Okay. And I always ask them to write down their thoughts around this question, write down their answers around this. Where are you right now? Not where you wish you are right now, not where you used to be. Where are you today? What are you feeling right now? Let's start today. Let's begin right now. And I want you to be able to tell yourself confidently that you are making progress. That is the whole goal of this podcast and the whole goal behind this idea of creating a baseline, understanding where you are with the tools you have. Being able to tell yourself confidently that you are making progress is the way that you are going to be able to continue to find the momentum you need and really try to, continue to find the progress that you're looking for. As you continue to work through the podcast, as you continue to work through the program here at the center, or continue to go to group meetings or whatever you're doing to overcome pornography for good, I promise you down the road, you're going to ask yourself this question. It's going to come up. Am I making progress? That question is going to come up. Am I making progress? And you could probably come up with a pretty solid answer if you didn't write anything down, right? And you kind of just started your journey and you're going to wherever you are to overcome pornography. You could probably come up with a pretty solid answer of, yeah, I feel like I'm doing better. I feel like I'm a better person now that I'm going to these meetings, or I think I'm making progress with these tools that I have. But what if you could answer that question with 100% confidence? That question comes into your head, am I making progress? And you will be able to answer it with confidence because you know where you started. You know, because you wrote it down, how you're feeling emotionally, how you are feeling physically, right? Spiritually, socially. So when that question comes up in your head, am I making progress? You can say, I am making progress with confidence. I know I'm making progress because I know where I began my healing journey. That's where you're going to find the momentum. And that's where you're going to continue to find success as you move forward in overcoming pornography for good. And I also want you to remember that progress is subtle, okay? It's not this grandiose thing that happens every day you process an urge, right? It's a very subtle shift that over time will be a beautiful piece of artwork. You responded to an urge instead of reacting to it. That's a win. It's subtle, but it's a win. You journaled instead of numbing out your emotions. You caught the shame spiral and slowed it down instead of just binging. There are so many beautiful things that subtly bring progress, and it's really important to recognize those. None of these subtle things are going to show up on a streak tracker on your phone, but it's real growth, and understanding that is really important. And that's why I encourage you guys to write down where you are right now. I want to end with this today. There is so much hope for you. It's not hope in pushing yourself harder, but becoming honest and intentional with what you're doing right now, writing those things down. You don't have to be a master at every single tool this week, but flipping on that light in your dark room and gathering a few tools that you think can really help you along your journey, putting them in your tool belt and moving forward is so important. You don't have to journal every day. You don't have to process every single emotion perfectly or build this flawless morning routine to keep yourself on track. Sometimes the biggest breakthroughs come when you simplify your efforts. Understanding where you are, gathering the tools that can resonate with you, writing those down, right? That's a big one. And then moving forward with confidence. So if you're feeling stuck this week, or if you felt stuck in the last month or two, I want you to take one of those tools that you picked up on the ground, and I want you to sharpen that tool this week. I want you to sharpen it so you can really understand what this tool's potential is for you. I want you to believe in that tool that you choose to work on this week. I want you to anchor it in part of your daily routine. Anchor it, okay? And let that be the route for the week. Try it for the week, see what happens, see how things go. Not because it's the most impressive tool or the greatest tool that's going to help you, but because it's sustainable and understanding that I know this tool is going to help me right now where I am. That's when the confidence starts to increase. So if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling tired, or if you're feeling like you're falling short, I hope this podcast episode gives you that permission to pause, recalibrate, and move forward with confidence. You're not behind in your efforts. You're building something. And sometimes less really is more. I promise you that. Let's simplify what we're doing here. I'm so grateful for you guys. So glad you were able to tune in this week. I hope this podcast can open your eyes and understanding the simplicity of overcoming pornography for good sometimes. Sometimes you just gotta simplify. Have a fantastic week, everybody, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
I want to invite you to come and listen to my free class, How to Overcome Pornography for Good Without Using Willpower. We talk about how to stop giving into urges without pure willpower or relying on phone filters so that you can actually stop wanting pornography. We talk about how to stop giving up after a few weeks or months. And spoiler alert, the answer isn't have more willpower. And then lastly, we talk about how to make a life without porn easily sustainable and permanent. If you're trying to quit porn, this class is a game changer. So you can go and sign up at sarahbrewer.com/masterclass, and it is totally free.